Hi, and welcome back, everyone, to the EMF protection course. This is Heidi.
This is Thaddeus.
And today we're going to talk about the effects of
EHS.
Thanks. We're going to talk about the effects of EMF and what EHS is.
Okay. Did I say EHS?
You said it right, and I was stumbling over EHS and EMF.
Oh.
Do you even know what the most harmful EMF or microwave radiation is at your home?
Oh my God, don't ever do that.
Oh, I got a text. Oh, I'm on the internet.
Oh my gosh.
Do I need to be taller?
Yes. Oh, much better.
Oh, look at it. That's our intro. You can't call it intro if you say intro. Okay.
So, when we get exposed to electromagnetic fields, non-native electromagnetic fields that we're not used to, we can develop symptoms of what's called ElectroMagnetic Hyper Sensitivity, EHS.
You did it!
It just means that people are sensitive to these wireless signals in their environment.
Okay.
And people are thinking like, oh, EHS, it's one of these made up things, made up sensitivities like fibromyalgia. But in reality, just because somebody is more sensitive to something doesn't mean it's not true.
Right.
So they're like the canaries in the coal mines, and we should be paying very close attention to those people. So it's like, what did we say? Like eating strawberries and getting hives. Let's imagine strawberries are a brand new food we just developed. And people have been eating them for the last 8 years. Okay. And some people are like getting super itchy when they eat strawberries. And they're like, it's definitely due to the strawberries. Like, I know it is. And everyone's like, you're just making that up. There's thousands of us eating strawberries and I'm not itchy. And so eventually somebody does the science and proves that strawberries cause this histamine reaction, which causes itchiness in the skin. And now it's a scientific fact.
Okay.
But because we're not allowed in the U.S. technically to study microwave radiation and how it affects us, there's a lot of things.
You should have learned in an earlier video.
About why we can't study that.
Right.
So you can study it, but you've got to pay for it all on your own. And most labs, university academic labs, are funded by government money. And the government's not allowed to pay for microwave radiation study.
Interesting.
So what happens in EHS and what is it all about? And EHS, again, I want you to think about this hypersensitivity of people that are the canary in the coal mine coming down with these symptoms first, but likely what all of us being exposed to these wireless signals over a long time are going to be experiencing. And so one of the things is we talk about like what's the asbestos or the lead or the cigarettes of our generation, and it's almost certainly our wireless devices because way more of us have them everywhere, and there's way more cell towers than there are anything else we've almost ever experienced from a standpoint of things around us that are completely unnatural and we know have biological effect and are almost largely unstudied. So EHS is, a lot of people who have EHS, you'll see they do like crazy things because they are very sensitive. They can hear microwave radiation sometimes, which we've proven that the military said that's possible to hear these things. And they get very sensitized to where they get really, really bad anxiety or they get really bad insomnia or other symptoms so that they almost are going crazy to be in a modern environment. And many of them have to like live out of their cars, driving to these low EMF environments so that they can actually get some sleep. And it seems like they are crazy, but we know some people that have had to live in their car for 5 years and are extremely intelligent, like lawyer for the World Bank. I mean, like super smart people. They're not just making this up, and they've studied all the science, and they have to do these extreme measures. So I just wanted to read, this is again from Radiation Nation, which is a really short but interesting book, Electromagnetic Hypersensitivity, EHS. This is Dr. William Ray, who's an MD and founder of the Environmental Health Center, and he says, sensitivity to electromagnetic radiation is the emerging health problem of the 21st century. And then there's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about. But basically, the Swiss have conducted studies, and the Swiss study, actually, that was 2004, and it found 90% of the people that they studied were sensitive to EMF and had 2 or more symptoms of EMF sensitivity. Whoa. 90%. So we estimate today that 10 to 90% of the population is sensitive to EMF, very sensitive. And so when we think it's like, oh, it's just a few crazies.
Wait, did you say 10 to what?
90.
That's a big...
It's huge.
Span.
So
10 to 90.
So there are some studies that say it's about 10% of the population that's sensitive to EMF, but this Swiss study said 90% of the people they studied. So that's, again, these are little studies, but very important. And one of the things that EHS is not a recognized symptom here in the US, medical symptom or diagnosis, but it is in other countries. So like the World Health Organization understands that EHS is a real thing. And in France, there was a woman who sued her employer for not allowing her to work in a lower EMF environment, got hurt at work from getting dizzy. So dizziness is one of these symptoms. She got dizzy, fell over, hurt herself, and then the medical doctor actually determined that she was hypersensitive and was definitely biologically affected by EMF. And we think psychological, like anxiety, depression, and insomnia, we don't really think of those as like real things. I mean, we know people that have them, but we don't think that they're really regulated by like this wireless stuff or light that's in our home. And really, we think of people that have those as like less than. It's like if I have anxiety and depression or insomnia, it's like I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want to admit that I have that. But like if I have cancer or I broke my leg, everyone's like, oh my gosh, your leg is broken. You need to get better. Like we're going to help you like figure out how to fix your leg and get better. But if you have anxiety or depression, people are like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? I don't want to tell anyone about that. Those are
social anxiety.
Another
big one for kids.
Those are all real things. And they all have definite implications on people. They're all real diagnoses, and we should be helping them understand how they could get those things.
Or if they already have those things, does the EMF amplify, Like how much more severe is your condition when you're in this environment?
And so knowing how to protect yourself against EMF can actually help with your insomnia, anxiety, and depression. We're not saying that's 100% the cure. We're saying it can be caused by this, and therefore mitigation can make it better. That's what we believe based on all the studies that we've seen and reports of individuals who have gotten better, including myself, from anxiety by reducing the EMF. So I was just going to look at some of these things where, the symptoms of EHS really range all over, but they've been reported since the 1930s with military radar. And this is what we talked about with hearing EMF and being sensitive to that. Only certain people in the military who worked on those radars a lot could hear them, and it was proven that they were sensitive to the EMF, and they called that now today EHS, electromagnetic hypersensitivity. And you can be sensitive to everything emitted from your laptop, your cell phone, your tablets, just like some people are sensitive to bee stings. I can get stung by 100 bees and I'll probably be fine. If Heidi gets stung by a bee, we have to like rush her to the hospital or give her an EpiPen. And so she's developed a sensitivity where she never had that ever in her life, and now she's more sensitive. I'm less sensitive. Some people are more sensitive to EMF. That doesn't mean that because everyone isn't sick, just like cancer. Like I'm going to sit out in the sun for 10 hours a day. Someone else might do that and get skin cancer, and I might never get it. They're more sensitive, but that doesn't mean the sun or certain things don't affect us biologically just because some people are more sensitive. We have to take them seriously. So I think EHS, the important thing is like, it's a real thing. Some people are hypersensitive, but long-term exposure to these things will almost certainly cause these effects in nearly everybody. It's just the EHS people are the canaries in the coal mine, and it's important to know what those symptoms are. So if you're experiencing themselves, for me, just playing on my phone and scrolling, and I'll start to get a tingling and a buzzing in my finger that I'm scrolling with. And then it starts to go to all my fingers. And then as soon as I put the phone away and turn it on airplane mode, it's gone.
Well, and we also have one of our kids in our house who was putting his phone in his front pocket, and his legs were super itchy all the time, and he'd break out in hives. We told him he cannot have his phone in his pocket anymore after we did all this research. And his hives completely went away. He's like, I've not heard him complain one time about his skin being itchy. So there's other things too that are we don't even know. Why is it making his skin all weird? Why is Thaddeus' finger tingling?
So look up the symptoms of EHS that you can have. There's a lot, and they could be from other things, of course. But if you have some of these symptoms and you start mitigating, as you'll learn in the next few videos, the EMF around you, find out if they get better. And then you'll know that maybe you are one of those sensitive individuals to EMF, and therefore you can design your work and home environment a little bit differently to help yourself out.
Awesome. Thanks for joining.